Matt with MCB Performance here today. We wanted to go over disassembly and assembly of the Power Block 80 clutch. A lot of customers that purchase these from us are either going out west or they're trying to tailor their engagement of their shift RPM, and we take a lot of phone calls on how to tune the clutch. So we're just going to make a quick video of it, put it on our website, and post it out there for people. The first thing is you want to mark the clutch. Like any clutch, it is a balanced assembly. There are markings engraved in the clutch, but for simplicity, we mark it with a blue paint pen. We mark all the pieces, including the nut and the washer. We do that for several reasons. Number one, this nut is torqued to 110 foot-pounds. When you go to retorque it upon assembly, it works out every time that when you hit that 110, those marks are lined back up again. For the purpose of this video, we already have the nut loose. So that's, again, it's torqued at 110 foot-pounds. We have a fixture here at the shop that holds the clutch. You're not going to have that. Most of you are probably going to do this on the sled, in which case you would actually want to tip the sled up on its side with the clutch facing straight up like this is. A really neat thing about the PB80 is the faceplate is not under any spring tension like a Polaris, Arctic Cat, or Yamaha. You can simply take the faceplate off. The sliding blocks are not only acting as your shift arms, they are also your weights. The weights on these can be changed by simply removing the reddish-orange cap. In this situation, we're actually removing 2 of the weight discs for this application. It's that simple. You put it back together, thread the cap back down all the way. Again, here at the shop, we have a gram scale. We verify that all 3 are the same. That's very critical. You're just going to count the disc and make sure they're all the same. So that's how you would change the weights. To do the spring, simply just take the entire movable sheave off the fixed sheave. This is, if you're a Skidoo owner, this is going to be very familiar to you. This is basically the Skidoo spring cup design. Again, for the purpose of the video, we have these bolts loose. We use this fixture over here. We come over here and we drop this down through here. You got to be careful when dropping this down not to scrape the threads on the bushing. These bushings will last a long time, but if you mar them with the threads and you start to delaminate it, they will not last long at all. So be very careful bringing this down through if you're going to use this kind of a fixture. For the typical homeowner, a threaded rod at the hardware clamped in a vise is acting as the same thing. We have a special washer here that's the size of the faceplate. Run this down. Once this is down, the idea here is to not loosen one bolt at a time and walk the cup off in angles. You want to bring it off in a planar motion. So again, we have these loosened for the video. It's not a bad idea to mark this as well. Once you have all 3 out, when you're doing this, again, you're bringing it off in a planar motion so that you're not scarring the bushing or binding anything. There's your spring cup. Simply take the spring out, put the new one in. These PB80s have a plastic guide sleeve that fits only one way in the cup. The opposite, you just reverse the entire process to put the spring on. You have to make sure that you get the plastic slider in the right spot so that you don't bind it. There it goes. want to take it all the way down with the tool and wiggle it as you're doing it. It's almost a good idea too to start a couple of them before you're all the way down so that the cup is centered. I just get a couple threads started on each one. Now I know it's perfectly straight, and then I just send this home. Finish tightening it, which I'm going to use the impact. I'm not supposed to do that, but for the purpose of the video, we are. There is a torque on these that we normally do for the purpose of the video and speed. We're not going to do that today. Once you change the spring, you can simply come back over here, put the movable sheave back on, align your marks. I already did the other two weight changes prior to the video. These only sit in there one way. If you sit them in there upside down, you can see they won't hold themselves. We're going to bring this over to another fixture. This is the fixture that we achieve our torque with. It grabs onto the fins of this. You're going to bring this on like this, engage it, take your faceplate, look for your mark, and here's something that's very, very, very critical with this design. This hexagon feature has to lock onto this hexagon feature before you put the nut on. Some people make the mistake. They think this is bottomed out and they torque the nut, but it's not locked onto the hexagon. The minute you start to sled and the fixed sheave turns and it finds its weight where it wants to be, now the nut's loose by the material thickness of this faceplate. So once you get this down, you gotta make sure that you lock that on there. And even the washer has the same hexagon feature. If you look right now, only the faceplate is engaged and there's no meat for the washer. The washer will spin. So what we want to do is take this. A rubber handled hammer would work okay too. You just don't want to be pounding on the clutch. But what we can do is run this down, get the faceplate down further, then remove it. Now the washer will grab the hexagon feature, it won't spin. Put the nut on and achieve your torque to 110 foot-pounds, which, like I said, 9 times out of 10 brings that mark right back around. Wipe the inner bore off, wipe the crank off, put the bolt on, torque it to the factory spec, put your belt on, and go riding.